So that's what Drexler's looking at. Clyde from Portland. Well, that looked a lot like the dunk that Michael Jordan did, and he had a little more authority throwing it down through. Well, now that's a tough one. Why would he choose a free throw dunk after Jordan has electrified the crowd with a 50? He took off further inside than Michael, and he did not have the flair that Michael Jordan had.
Clyde Drexler's biggest mistake of his basketball career, and maybe his life, was to stand by this.
This is the NBA Storyteller.
Even though Clyde lived in an era that bridged the acceptance of real, average-aging man and the desperate, feverish, pathetic scramble to gloss over all signs of it. Now quickly, I will say that now that we're out of those dark ages, you're doing a pretty darn good job, as you just don't see patchy, spotty looks or giant, shining bald spots. To the point when you do see it, it feels odd. Just seeing it is like, wow, what's wrong with him? What happened, Manu? Even the coaches do all they can to fight it now. Some of those guys are like 70 and they're still fighting it. It's okay, Doc. We see you, Doc. That artificial wisp of hairline that blends into literal nothingness, just give it up. Now the mid-2000s, that was an experimental time. Folks like Darren Williams, he got creative with the bastard cousin of the comb over, the comb forward. This peculiar journey forward was littered with landmines. But as Chuck and Kenny and Shaq say, the final and only solution to the epidemic of being a human, was to come on home. It's the oldest solution and, well, the only true solution. See, shaving your head is like the abstinence of hair loss. Yep. So, to recap, in the olden days, there was a real comfort in the league. One could even say there was no shame in one's game. Then we marched on to the Outliers era, where only the true clairvoyant could see what was coming. Then, that was closely followed by the preemptive era. Folks came in the game with shaved heads. Then we moved to what I call the Dark Ages. And some started down a treacherous path of alternative methods. Then came our modern era, where basically, if you are ever to show the slightest signs of the demise, you are labeled a pariah. Rule number 1, do not let it happen to you. In this over-scrutinized public, the mockery is enough to affect the behavior of all newcomers. And this brings us to our modern-day Hester Prime, the one who donned the scarlet letter, the king, LeBron. He got comfortable. He was fooled by the hyper-prevention, and he did not take the necessary measures. See, somebody on his team really dropped the ball here, and I think the problem here is the group, his dear friends who have become real killers in and around this league. They didn't understand this aspect of business and image. They obviously know now. Back then, when the retreat began, it was probably issue 278 on the list of things to take care of. But now we're watching a public shaming of our reigning king. And it's almost too late to come home without an extended period of shaming. But it's okay. There is still time. There is still time. If the medical, surgical solution does not prevail, you can endure the shame and embarrassment because it's only temporary. All things are temporary.
In a couple years, it's going to Hey, LeBron, I always say you're the best player in the NBA. It's time for you to come on home, bro.
Quick side note, we're not even addressing the curse. The curse? The curse of an ugly ass head. Where it's even more important to get ahead of this. Oh, I gotta stop that. So back to Clyde. Clyde was stuck in his era. And because there's almost no images of him that don't pin him or condemn him to his bygone era, an era where men could embrace their age and be 30 but look 50, even his nickname, the Glide, this was telling. In that name is the image of an underachieving, submitting to laws of physics man, a man that could only glide, to be outdone by the man that could fly. His airness didn't even play by the same rules. So Clyde, which is also just an old-ass name, as the Glide came and landed, his airness continued to soar. Also, Michael, that name, that's historically modern. It's always modern. It's always relevant. Michael, good choice. So, ironically, Jordan was the true trailblazer here. And in all aspects of reality, it is key to his sustained relevance and coolness that he looked modern and relevant before it was even a thing. And who does he owe the credit to? Someone from Nike? Someone from the team? No. The man that is solely responsible for the image that has withstood the test of time is also the man responsible for his life and name. James R. Jordan, his father. This man, until his untimely death, continued to look younger and more vibrant than his actual age. It's like seeing one of those pictures of Lincoln where there's some apparent time traveler caught in the frame. That was Jordan. That was his father. Thanks, Dad.
That's what bringing me into this world.
And send this to your dad if he too dons a shaved head and has made a difference in your life. Enjoy, subscribe, peace.
Time for you to come on home, bro. Shave your head. I gotta do LeBron again. Okay. When LeBron started NBA, this is where he was when he first came in.
This man like this?
Oh man, I'm telling you something. Now it's like Wallace looking. Yeah, now it's like right here. Hey, Chris, in a couple years, it's gonna be like right here.